Good morning. I'm Monisa Cline here at GBTA Broadcast Studio here in beautiful San Diego. The convention theme this year is Reconnect, Reimagine, and Recreate, which is a perfect theme given the state of the industry and the environment that we're in today. Joining me this morning is a longtime industry friend, David Lim, who is Executive Marketing Officer for the TSA. Good morning, David.
Good morning to you, Monisa.
Welcome.
Thank you. It is great to be here. It's been 3 years since I've been to GBTA, so I am really excited to be able to reconnect with colleagues and friends that I've known from years past, including yourself from our mutual airline industry background. I will say on behalf of DHS and TSA, we really want to thank you and GBTA for giving us this opportunity to share information about Real ID, which I think is important for all of us, and it should help also just in advancing business travel. So,
well, it's great to see you and have you here, David.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
So talking about Real ID, tell us what the origin of it is and why it is so important.
Sure. So Real ID is a law that was passed by Congress in 2005 in enacting the 9/11 Commission's recommendation to have the federal government set standards for the issuance of identification cards, such as driver's licenses. So the Real ID license or compliant license will be required beginning May 3rd, 2023, in order to board commercial aircraft, as well as enter nuclear facilities and enter select federal facilities, including military installations. Now, the Real ID Act, and what's important to note also, is that it really increases aviation security, which obviously benefits us all, and that just adds another layer of security, if you will, to TSA's already multi-layered risk-based approach to security. So why is it important? It's important because the dominant identification given at the checkpoint is a driver's license. Now again, it's important to note that you can have a Real ID license or an alternative acceptable form of identification. So for example, one of the alternative acceptable forms is a passport. I know you have a passport, but the real question is, come May 3rd, 2023, if you're flying from Houston to LA, Houston to New York, and that's your trip, will you remember to take your passport? So we're encouraging all of our industry partners to get the word out about the importance of Real ID. And again, Real ID is only 9 months away. That's around the corner.
Right around the corner.
The other thing that's important to note for everyone to know is that while it's federally mandated, it is up to the states in terms of how they implement the program. So for example, ultimately everyone should check in with their local DMV for requirements. There are some states that when you renew, they don't give you a choice and you get a Real ID. So District of Columbia does that, the state of Florida does that. Other states will give you an option and they'll say you can renew for a regular license, which by the way you can do completely online, or you can do that, you can come in, and how many people want to come into the DMV to get a Real ID license? The problem is they're not necessarily informed that you're going to need a Real ID license to board commercial aircraft, enter certain facilities.
And I think there's a star, right, on the
yes,
driver's license. I think mine has a star on it.
Good point. Yeah. So all the Real ID driver's licenses, you'll know if you have one if you see a star in the upper right-hand corner. That's the designation that it's Real ID. So that's important to know.
And you mentioned passports would be acceptable. Are there any other forms of ID that will be acceptable post the May 3rd date?
Yes, post May 3rd. The best thing to do is go to tsa.gov and look for the listed forms of acceptable identification. But right now, for example, other forms that are non-state issued would be a U.S. passport, a U.S. passport card, any of the DHS Trusted Traveler Program cards, like Global Entry, Nexus, Census, Nexus, FAST, Enhanced Driver's License, and a green card for lawful permanent residents.
Okay.
So what we encourage people to do is not just say, here's the list. When you're ready to travel, go to the TSA.gov site to see what's the most current list of acceptable IDs, because they could change between now and May 3rd and even after May 3rd.
Okay, excellent. Great information. So here we are in beautiful San Diego at GBTA Convention. We've got well over 4,000 people here in the business travel industry. What can the industry do to help with this initiative?
Monisa, great question. Thank you for asking that question. Every corporate travel manager and every supplier can help by reminding their audience of the benefits of integrating Real ID content into any of their communication channels. We have hundreds of creative assets that are on the dhs.gov/real-ID website under Campaign Toolkit. So anyone can download those sites. So we have print, digital, video, audio, if they want to use that to integrate that into their communications. Our partners to date, the airlines, started on May 3rd, and this is great from their perspective. They integrated Real ID content in 3 key touch points. First, in the reservation system, secondarily at check-in, and then in the airport where you would check in luggage. Now, they'll reach tens of millions of travelers between now and May 3rd. However, when you think about the corporate travel manager and their employees, I think they're almost all of them are using designated corporate booking tools. So it would be great to have that content within the corporate booking tool, because they don't necessarily use the airline app to be able to see that. We've done a number of presentations, both virtual and in person, about Real ID. Over the last several months, we've done a lot, and I would offer to the audience, if anyone would like us to do a briefing to either the account team, the clients, or the corporation, just let us know. We'll be happy to organize that for you. We do have a booth, number 150. I will not be at the booth, but if you want to, just ask them that you have an interest in that. They're right across from the Customs and Border Protection booth, which, by the way, is doing mobile enrollment for global entry.
Excellent.
Which is always a big hit.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, this is the perfect audience, great opportunity, lots of opportunity, I think, with helping you get the word out and the message out of the upcoming deadline.
Thank you. It is an important message for everyone in the travel industry. And again, just want to take a moment to thank you and GBTA for giving us this opportunity. So
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
David, it's always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us and spending a few minutes with me. And I hope you have a great conference.
Thank you. I know I will, and to you the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Monisa Cline here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio.